Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and I'm on the last of the batch of Jigmasters, and you've seen me bring a couple of these back from the dead like Lazarus, but I thought I'd show you the last three. They're a more difficult bunch, and they kind of ask the question, when is it best to just give up on the reel, declare it a parts reel, and move on? So all three of these are suffering the same problem. They don't turn. Which is almost always a function of the gear sleeve freezing to the post on the bridge. This is the post. Or it's being so severely clogged with junk that it impedes the progress. And I showed you on the last video, or one of the videos I posted recently, about one that was sluggish. These have gone beyond sluggish. And you can tell that they've been abused. There's no oil or grease. This is built up contamination, rust and sea water and so on. You can see this one was well lubed, but for some reason I've got a seized reel out of that. And this one kind of a combination of the both. A lot of the dried sea salt, not as much of the worn or coagulated grease. So my guess on that one is it just hasn't been serviced. And you can guess which ones go with which. So this is the one that goes with the one that has all the rust. I believe I can get this one back. And why do I say that? Because even though it's difficult to turn, the main gear can still turn and the spool gear can still turn. And I'll just do that for you. It's taking a lot of effort to do this. So as long as the parts seem to be moving, I should be able to repair this one, and it will be similar to the one that I posted recently. Here's a second one. You can see that one belongs to this one. It's got a lot of salt and dried seawater in it. Hasn't been maintained again. And again, if I turn the handle on this one, again, pretty difficult to do, but you can see barely moving is that gear and the spool. So the same process. It'll be taken apart completely. It'll be cleaned up. We'll get some of that stuff off, and we'll put that one, hopefully we'll put that one back into service as well. And I had mentioned on a previous video, I have a lot of these reels from this captain. So if there's parts that are needed along the way, I can go to some of them, like this one, which is likely not a survivor. So this one was greased and everything. That's what came off of this case, but it's frozen. And in this case, I can't turn the handle at all. It's just impossible to turn, and if the pieces are not turning, it means that this bridge post here and the gear sleeve that sits on it is frozen in place. There is a possible remedy with this one. I've saved about maybe 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6. It involves heat and gingerly working that gear sleeve off, but I don't have a lot of hope for this one. So what's likely is, if parts are needed for these other two, this will become the donor reel and we'll have the parts to that. But so what makes it redeemable or not, right? Well, it's the cost of parts. If you have to replace the bridge, and because the bridge post has failed, you might as well get another reel. I think the bridge plates these days are selling for $17 to $20. A new Jigmaster is going for about $45. And even if I replace the bridge on something like this, I still got gears that probably have seen their expected life, and I got a lot of parts and a lot of labor in that. If you were to take this to somebody who repairs reels, that $17 can easily double just in labor costs alone, so you might as well get a new reel. In my case, like I said, I have access to the parts because I work on these things for a couple of different charter boats, so I avoid the parts cost. And it's just a matter of labor and maybe some love and maybe a challenge to bring these things back. So just wanted to show you what the lack of lubrication does, show you how to diagnose a diagnosis that says whether you can even repair it, and just give you an idea of the effort that's required. So my guess is this one and this one, since I can see turning on these reels, will be repairable. This one, we'll give it a try. My guess is it's destined for the part spins. So I hope, if nothing else, you've learned that, you know, an ounce of prevention, right? If you keep your reels clean, if you keep them oiled, if you do your annual service, you won't wind up with something like this. This one almost looks like it was sitting on the bottom of the sea. I don't know what that that rust or mud is there. But here's an example of one that was probably just on deck all the time. Took a lot of salt water, maybe waves over the bow or whatever. Was never sprayed down, never cleaned, never washed off with fresh water at the end of the trips. And this is what you get. You get a premature failure of a rail due to lack of lubrication or lack of maintenance. And again, this is the other side plate that goes with it. So lots of challenges, right? But that's what you find when you either work on reels like this, or you buy them at a flea market, or you buy it at a tag sale where somebody's telling you, oh yeah, I only fish it lightly, and you get it home and you can't understand why it's not performing well, and you open it up and find out that there was no maintenance performed on them. So lessons learned. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Watch some of my other videos to see how to take these apart and put them back together. If you like it, please indicate so on YouTube. If you want to see more, please subscribe, as I'm posting frequently. Thank you for watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.